day we're continuing to read the Pilgrim's Progress. So I saw in my dream that he made haste and went forward, that, if possible, he might get lodging there. Now, before he had gone far, he entered into a very narrow passage, which was about a furlong off the porter's lodge, and looking very narrowly before him as he went, he espied two lions in the way. Now, thought he, I see the dangers by which mistrust and timorous were driven back. The lions were chained, but he saw not the chains. Then he was afraid, and thought also himself to go back after them, for he thought nothing but death was before him. But the porter at the lodge, whose name is Watchful, perceiving that Christian made a halt, as if he would go back, cried out unto him, saying, Is thy strength so small? Fear not the lions, for they are chained, and are placed there for the trial of faith where it is, and for the finding out of those that have none. Keep in the midst of the path, and no hurt shall come unto thee. Then I saw that he went on trembling for fear of the lions, but taking good heed to the words of the porter, he heard them roar, but they did him no harm. Then he clapped his hands, and went on till he came, and stood before the gate where the porter was. Then said Christian to the porter, Sir, what house is this, and may I lodge here tonight? The porter answered, This house was built by the Lord of the Hill, and he built it for the relief and security of pilgrims. The porter also asked whence he was, and whither he was going. I am come from the city of destruction, and I am going to Mount Zion. But, because the sun is now set, I desire, if I may, to lodge here tonight. What is your name? My name is now Christian, but my name at first was Graceless. But how doth it happen that you come so late? The sun is set. I had been here sooner, but that, wretched man that I am, I slept in the arbor that stands on the hillside. Nay, I had, notwithstanding that, been here much sooner, but that in my sleep I lost my rule, and came without it to the brow of the hill. And then, feeling for it, and finding it not, I was forced, with sorrow of heart, to go back to the place where I slept my sleep, where I found it, and now I am come. Well, I will call out one of the women of this place, who will, if she likes your talk, bring you in to the rest of the family, according to the rules of the house. So Watchful the porter rang a bell, at the sound of which came out of the door of the house a grave and beautiful young woman named Discretion, and asked why she was called. The porter answered, This man is on a journey from the city of destruction to Mount Zion, but, being weary and benighted, he asked me if he might lodge here tonight. So I told him I would call for thee, who, after speaking with him, mayest do as seemeth thee good, even according to the law of the house. Then she asked him whence he was, and whither he was going, and he told her. She asked him also how he got into the way, and he told her. Then she asked him what he had seen and met with on the way, and he told her. And at last she asked his name, so he said, It is Christian, and I have so much the more a desire to lodge here tonight, because, by what I perceive, this place was built by the Lord of the Hill for the relief and safety of pilgrims. So she smiled, but the water stood in her eyes, and after a little pause she said, I will call forth 2 or 3 of my family. So she ran to the door and called out Prudence, Piety, and Charity, who, after a little more discourse with him, brought him into the family, and many of them, meeting him at the threshold of the house, said, Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. This house was built by the Lord of the Hill, on purpose to entertain such pilgrims in. Then he bowed his head, and followed them into the house. So when he was come in and sat down, they gave him something to drink, and agreed together that, until supper was ready, some of them should talk with Christian, for the best use of the time. And they appointed Piety, Prudence, and Charity to talk with him. And thus they began. Come, good Christian, since we have been so loving to you to receive you into our house this night, let us, if perhaps we may better ourselves thereby, talk with you of all things that have happened to you in your pilgrimage. With a very good will, and I am glad that you are so well disposed. What moved you at first to betake yourself to a pilgrim's life? I was driven out of my native country by a dreadful sound that was in mine ears, to wit, that certain destruction did await me, if I abode in that place where I was. But how did it happen that you came out of your country this way? It was as God would have it, for, when I was under the fears of destruction, I did not know whither to go, but by chance there came a man even to me, as I was trembling and weeping, whose name was Evangelist, whose name is Evangelist, and he directed me to the wicket gate, which else I should never have found, and so set me in the way that hath led me directly to this house. But did you not come by the house of the interpreter? Yes, and did see such things there, the remembrance of which will stick by me as long as I live, especially three things, to wit, how Christ, in despite of Satan, the evil one, maintains his work of grace in the heart, how the man had sinned himself quite out of hopes of God's mercy, and also the dream of him that thought in his sleep the day of judgment was come. Why, did you hear him tell his dream? Yes, and a dreadful one it was. I thought it made my heart ache as he was telling of it, but yet I am glad I heard of it. Was that all you saw at the house of the interpreter? No, he took me and had me where he showed me a stately palace, and how the people were clad in gold that were in it, and how there came a venturous man and cut his way through the armed men that stood in the door to keep him out, and how he was bid to come in and win eternal glory. Methought those things did delight my heart. I would have stayed at that good man's house a 12 month, but that I knew I had further to go. And what saw you else on the Christian in the way? Saw? Why, I went but a little further, Christian, I went but a little further, and saw one, as I thought in my mind, hang bleeding upon a tree, and the very sight of him made my burden fall off my back, for I groaned under a very heavy burden, and then it fell down from off me. It was a strange thing to me, for I never saw such a thing before. Yeah, and while I stood looking up, for then I could not forbear looking, three shining ones came to me. One of them told me that my sins were forgiven me. Another stripped me of my rags and gave me this broidered coat which you see. And the third set the mark which you see in my forehead, and gave me the sealed scroll, correction, sealed roll, and with that he plucked it out of his bosom. But you saw more than this, did you not? The things that I've told you were the best. Yes, some other matters I saw, as namely, I saw three men, simple sloth and presumption, lie asleep a little out of the way as I came, with irons upon their heels. But do you think I could wake them? I also saw formalist and hypocrisy come tumbling over the wall, to go as they pretended to Zion. But they were quickly lost, even as I myself did tell them. But they would not believe. But above all, I found it hard work to get up this hill, and as hard to come by the lions' mouths. And surely, if it had not been for the good man the porter, that stands at the gate, I do not know but that, after all, I might have gone back again. But now I thank God I am here, and I thank you for receiving of me. Then Prudence thought good to ask him a few questions and desired his answer to them. Do you think sometimes of the country from whence you came? Yes, but with much shame and detestation. Truly, if I had been mindful of that country from whence I came out, I might have had an opportunity to have returned. But now I desire a better country, that is, a heavenly one. Do you not yet bear away with you in your thoughts some of the things that you did in the former time? Yes, but greatly against my will, especially my inward and sinful thoughts, with which all my countrymen, as well as myself, were delighted. But now all those things are my grief, and might I but choose mine own things, I would choose never to think of those things more, but when I would be doing that which is best, that which is worst is with me. Do you not find sometimes as if those things were overcome, which at other times are your trouble? Yes, but that is but seldom. But they are, to me, golden hours in which such things happen to me. Can you remember by what means you find your annoyances at times as if they were overcome? Yes, when I think what I saw at the cross, that'll do it. And when I look upon my broidered coat, that'll do it. Also when I look into the rule that I carry in my bosom, that'll do it. And when my thoughts wax warm about whither I am going, that will do it. And what makes you so desirous to go to Mount Zion? Why, there I hope to see him alive that did hang dead on the cross, and there I hope to be rid of all these things that to this day are in me an annoyance to me. There they say there is no death, and there I shall dwell with such company as I like best. For, to tell you the truth, I love him because I was by him eased of my burden, and I am weary of my inward sickness. I would fain be where I shall die no more, and with the company that shall continually cry, Holy, holy, holy. Then said Charity to Christian, Have you a family? Are you a married man? I have a wife and 4 small children. And why did you not bring them along with you? Then Christian wept and said, Oh, how willingly would I have done it, but they were all of them utterly against my going on pilgrimage. But you should have talked to them and endeavored to have shown them the danger of staying behind. So I did, and told them also what God had shown to me of the destruction of our city. But I seemed to them as one that mocked, and they believed me not. And did you pray to God that he would bless your words to them? Yes, and that with much affection. For you must think that my wife and 4 children are very dear unto me. But did you tell them of your own sorrow and fear of destruction? For I suppose that you could see your destruction before you. Yes, over and over and over. They might also see my fears in my countenance, in my tears, and also in my trembling under the fear of the judgment that did hang over our heads. But all was not enough to prevail with them to come with me. But what could they say for themselves why they came not? Why, my wife was afraid of losing the world, and my children were given to the foolish delights of youth. So, what by one thing and what by another, they left me to wander in this manner alone. But did you not, with your vain life, hinder all that you by words used by way of persuasion to bring them away with you? Indeed, I cannot commend my life, for I am conscious to myself of many failings therein. I know also that a man by his actions may soon overthrow what, by proofs or persuasion, he doth labor to fasten upon others for their good. Yet this I can say, I was very wary of giving them occasion, by any unseemly action, to make them averse to going on pilgrimage. Yea, for this very thing they would tell me I was too precise, and that I denied myself of things for their sakes, in which they saw no evil. Nay, I think I may say that, if what they saw in me did hinder them, it was my great tenderness in sinning against God, or of doing any wrong to my neighbor. Indeed, Cain hated his brother because his own works were evil, and his brother's righteous. And if thy wife and children have been offended with thee for this, they thereby show themselves to be resolutely opposed to good. thou hast freed thy soul from their blood. Now I saw in my dream that thus they sat talking together till supper was ready. So when they had made ready, they sat down to meat. Now the table was furnished with fat things, and wine that was well refined. And all their talk at the table was about the Lord of the hill, as namely about what he had done, and wherefore he did what he did, and why he had builded that house. And by what they said, I perceived that he had been a great warrior, and had fought with and slain him that had the power of death, but not without great danger to himself, which made me love him the more. For, as they said, and as I believe, said Christian, he did it with the loss of much blood, but that which puts the glory of grace into all he did was that he did it out of pure love to this country. And besides, there were some of them of the household that said they had seen and spoken with him since he did die on the cross. And they have declared that they had it from his own lips, that he is such a lover of poor pilgrims, that the like is not to be found from the east to the west. They moreover gave an instance of what they affirmed, and that was, he has stripped himself of his glory, that he might do this for the poor, and that they had heard him say and affirm that he would not dwell in the mountains of Zion alone. They said moreover that he had made many pilgrims princes, though by nature they were beggars born, and their home had been the dunghill. Thus they talked together till late at night, and after they had committed themselves to the Lord for protection, they betook themselves to rest. The pilgrim they laid in a large upper chamber, whose window opened towards the sun rising. The name of the chamber was Peace, where he slept till break of day, and then he awoke and sang, where am I now? Is this the love and care of Jesus for the men that pilgrims are, thus to provide that I should be forgiven, and dwell already next door to heaven? So in the morning they all got up, and after some more talking together, they told him that he should not depart till they had shown him the rarities of that place. And first they took him into the study, where they showed him records of the greatest age, in which, as I remember in my dream, they showed him first the history of the Lord of the Hill, that he was the son of the Ancient of Days, and had lived from the beginning. Here also were more fully written the acts that he had done, and the names of many hundreds that he had taken into his service, and how he had placed them in such houses that could neither by length of days nor decays of nature be destroyed. Then they read to him some of the worthy acts that some of his servants had done, as how they had conquered kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, and turned to flight the armies of the enemies. They then read again in another part of the records of the house, where it was shown how willing their Lord was to receive into his favor any, even any, though they in time past had done great wrongs to his person and rule. Here also were several other histories of many other famous things, of all which Christian had a view, as of things both ancient and modern, together with prophecies and foretellings of things that surely come to pass, both to the dread and wonder of enemies, and the comfort and happiness of pilgrims. The next day they took him and led him into the armory, where they showed him all manner of weapons which their Lord had provided for pilgrims, as sword, shield, helmet, breastplate, all prayer, and shoes that would not wear out. And there was here enough of this to harness out as many men for the service of their Lord as there be stars in the heaven for multitude. They also showed him some of the things with which some of his servants had done wonderful things. They showed him Moses' rod, the hammer and nail with which Jael slew Sisera, the pitchers, trumpets, and lamps too, with which Gideon put to flight the armies of Midian. Then they showed him the ox's goad, wherewith Shamgar slew 600 men. They showed him also the jawbone with which Samson did such mighty feats. They showed him, moreover, the sling and stone with which David slew Goliath of Gath, and the sword also with which their Lord will kill the man of sin in the day that he shall rise up to the battle. They showed him besides many excellent things, with which Krishna was much delighted. This done, they went to their rest again. And that's the end of the reading for today. Have a good day.